When I first contacted the private investigator, I wasn't sure what I was truly searching for. Maybe closure, maybe punishment, or maybe forgiveness I didn't deserve. It had been 3 years since I last saw Daniel, my ex-husband, the man I betrayed. The guilt never faded, no matter how hard I tried to bury it beneath the noise of a new life that never quite felt real. Daniel had been everything anyone could ask for: kind, patient, loyal, in ways that often made me feel unworthy. Maybe that's why I destroyed it. I convinced myself that his calm nature meant he didn't care, that his steady love had grown dull. When someone new at work began giving me attention, I confused it with passion. It didn't take long for the truth to come out. And when it did, Daniel left without saying a word. No shouting, no accusations. Just a quiet goodbye that hurt more than any argument ever could. Years later, that silence still haunted me. I didn't want to win him back. I knew I had lost that right. But I needed to know if he was okay. I wanted to believe he had rebuilt his life. So I hired a private investigator named Mark, a quiet man with sharp eyes who promised answers within a week. I told him I only needed to know if Daniel was happy, if he had moved on. Mark didn't question my reasons. He simply nodded and began his work. The days that followed felt endless. Every hour dragged, filled with memories of the life I had thrown away. I remembered the mornings Daniel made coffee for both of us, even after we argued the night before. I remembered how he used to wait by the window when I came home late, pretending he wasn't worried. And I remembered the last look in his eyes when he discovered the truth. No anger, just heartbreak. On the sixth day, Mark called to say he had the information. We met at a small cafe downtown. He placed a worn folder on the table and slid it toward me. My hands shook as I opened it. There were photographs. Daniel walking through a park, sitting beside a lake, helping an elderly man load groceries into a car. In one picture, he was smiling. For a brief moment, relief washed over me. He looked peaceful. Then Mark spoke. He's been living in a small town 2 hours away. Volunteers at a community center. Doesn't talk much about his past, he said quietly. I nodded, unsure how to respond. Then he hesitated. There's something else. I think you should know. My heart dropped instantly. What is it? I asked. Mark pulled out another envelope and handed it to me. He's not well, he said gently. He was diagnosed with a heart condition last year. He's been in and out of the hospital. The doctors believe stress made it worse. My breath caught in my throat. Guilt crashed over me like a wave. Does he have anyone with him? I whispered. Mark shook his head. He lives alone. There's a woman who visits often, his neighbor. She checks on him, brings food sometimes. They're not together. She said he rarely speaks about anything personal. Tears blurred my vision. I had imagined him happy and free from the pain I caused. Instead, he was living quietly, carrying wounds I had carved into his heart. I asked Mark if it would be wrong for me to visit. He paused before answering. You can, but be prepared to hear what he truly feels. It might not be what you're hoping for. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed every cruel word from our final months together. Every lie. Every moment I chose someone else over him. The next morning, I decided to go, not to ask for forgiveness, but to apologize face to face, no matter how late it was. When I arrived in his town, everything felt still, almost untouched by time. The community center stood quietly at the corner, its sign faded above the door. Through the window, I saw him sitting with a group of children, helping one fix a broken toy. His smile was soft and familiar, the same one I had fallen in love with years ago. I stayed outside for nearly an hour, afraid to disturb the peace he had built. Finally, I gathered the courage to walk inside. He looked up, and for a brief second, recognition flickered in his eyes. Then came calm. No anger, no shock. Hi, Daniel, I said softly. He didn't answer immediately. He studied me for a long moment before saying, "You didn't have to come." His voice sounded tired, but not cold. I tried to explain how sorry I was, how I thought about him every day, but he gently stopped me. "You don't have to carry this forever," he said. "I forgave you a long time ago. I just couldn't stay in a place where everything reminded me of what we lost." His words shattered me more deeply than any blame ever could. I wanted to tell him I still cared, but it didn't feel fair. Before I left, he gave me a faint smile and said, "I hope you find peace too." I nodded as tears fell freely. Walking back to my car, I realized I had found what I came for. Not forgiveness, truth. Daniel had rebuilt his life in silence, carrying the pain I gave him, but refusing to let it define him. The investigator's words had broken me, but Daniel's quiet strength healed something inside me.